Hello everyone, my name is Eric Frohardt with Rost Martin, and today we're going to do a basic firearms lesson. The next thing we're going to talk about is reloads. There are a few different reloads. We teach the combat reload or the emergency reload or the slide lock reload. They're all the same thing under different names. We teach a tactical reload, and that's just kind of where I've shot a few rounds and I think I want to top off the magazine. And then we have an admin reload on a range, and that's when I just kind of somehow take a full magazine and put it into here and do a press check administratively on a gun range. But for now, we're going to focus on the why. Like, why would we want to be able to do a reload? It's not applicable if you're not carrying an extra magazine. I do encourage people to carry an extra magazine if for any reason a malfunction. Another thing to think about is if you do use a gun in a self-defense situation, very likely you haven't trained millions and millions of rounds, which means you'll probably end up shooting more than you thought. For now, we're just going to go through the way to do a combat reload or a slide lock reload. So for this drill, I have one round in this magazine, right? I don't have a round in the chamber right now. When I turn, I'm going to load and make ready, purposely knowing that I have one round in the magazine and I need to shoot 2 shots. So I know that I'm going to have a slide lock or an emergency reload, and I'm going to go through that process. Again, just like our holster draws or anything else, I'm going to start slow. I'm going to build good muscle memory, perfect practice, no faster than I can talk my way through it, and I'm going to let that speed come with time. Got ear pro and eye pro. All right, some weapons awareness. Press check. I got a single. I know right now that I have a single round in my magazine. In my mag carrier here, I have my emergency magazine, right? Or my backup magazine. So I'm gonna go through everything just with the holster draw. I've decided I need to draw and fire. And in this case, I know I have to shoot at least 2 or 3 shots. Nice and slow. Reference point, grip, clear, rotate, touch point, present, lock to the rear. Finger comes out. It comes out, and I like to bring the gun right here. And now I'm pressing the mag release, and I have an option here. I can strip the mag like that, where I use this hand to just strip it out of the way. I like to do that because my hand is here anyway. Some people just hit the button and trust the magazine to fall. It mostly does, but I have seen circumstances where they push the button and the mag release and it doesn't fall, and they have to shake the gun. That's more common with plastic magazines. These steel magazines tend to fall out really nicely. But again, I choose this method because it works in all circumstances. So my slide is locked to the rear. I bring it in here. I have it at my workspace. I am not looking at the gun. I'm looking at the threat. I'm looking at the target. I use this hand to help strip the magazine. It strips the magazine. Now I'm going to turn your way. I stripped it in this manner. Look where that hand went. Remember we talk about economy of motion? Right to here. Now my magazine, my backup magazine is in the holster with the bullets faced in the right direction so that I can use my index finger. I can bring it up and use that index finger. I don't have to look at my gun. I'm looking at the target. I tap it in. I'm not going to take the time to tug it in this instance because I'm in a hurry. Now here I have 3 options: slide release, pinch pull, or over the top. I've just got so many reps with the pinch and pull method. I'm going to go right here. Now, I'm going to repeat this drill. I have reholstered. If you're on a range getting training, don't bend down and pick up your magazine until the instructor says, go ahead and pick up your magazine. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my magazine and reset the drill. Very important when you're doing this drill, always reholster before picking up your magazine. The reason is some people will go like, hopefully you won't do this, but some people will go like this. Notice where my gun was pointing, like at everyone else, or they'll go like that. So I've reholstered. I'm gonna pick my magazine up. Now, easy way to do this drill, I take my empty magazine. I'm gonna practice this tactical reload, a little more advanced skill. We're not gonna get into it today. But I have now purposely put an empty magazine into this gun. I'm gonna do a press check. So my weapons awareness right now, my firearms awareness, is that I have a loaded gun with a round in the chamber, but I have an empty mag. So it should lock to the rear, and I should have to do an emergency or a combat reload. Okay, let's do that again. Again, I get to this reference point, I establish my grip. I'm gonna clear the holster, rotate, find my touch point. I'm gonna present, find tension, up. Okay, I'm gonna safely pick up my magazine. I like to have a standard in mind for a 7-yard shot, draw, and be able to hit my target, right? It could be, let's say it's a 1.5 seconds, but I know if I can do that from concealment with little or no warm up, if I can draw and fire that shot in a 1.5 seconds into, let's say, an A zone on one of those IPSC targets over there, if I can do that standard, then my gear and my training, my hardware and my software is up to speed. It's also good to have a standard for a mag change. Now, that's gonna change a lot when you're carrying concealed, because when you're carrying concealed, very likely, most people aren't gonna have one of these nice high-speed mag pouches or mag carriers. A lot of times you'll see people, maybe they have their magazine inside the belt, maybe it's in a pocket, maybe it's back here, maybe it's in a back pocket. That's going to affect the time of your draw. It's easy when you're on an outdoor range like this. You get a shot timer and you can time yourself. How quickly can you take a one-shot reload, one shot, and then have a time in mind and have a time to beat, right? So we won't do the timing today, just showing you a few different techniques and procedures.